Hello everybody, this is Roger with Roger's Reviews, and today we're going to be going over some Ditch Witch stuff, and we're going to be talking about all the SK series, and we're going to be talking about Sk800, the Sk1550, the Sk800, and the Sk600 mini skid stand-on track steers. I've used tested about all these machines, and I've been in the tree service for about 20 years. I was one of the first ones in the area to start out using mini skids. First of all, I couldn't afford a full size, and I didn't have the equipment trailer to carry the bigger skids. And we found out over the years that basically the mini skids, actually you can use them more often, and they don't mess up the yards as much, and they're actually better for what we do, because we do smaller tree work and we're always into small backyards, small gates. And so they keep coming up with these bigger and bigger skid steers, which are awesome, but a lot of times you can't always get them inside the gates where you need them. So I just wanted to give a little rough breakdown of what skid steers they have now, and I'm mainly just talking about Ditch Witch because that's what I prefer. I've tried all of them, and Ditch Witch just seems to work the best for us. I probably wouldn't buy another one unless it was like an awesome deal or was given to me. If I'm going to buy a new skid steer, I'm going to buy a Ditch Witch, and I'm not paid to say anything, or it's not a paid ad. It's just what I prefer. I prefer Ditch Witch. Just seem to be built a little bit better, and they break down less. They don't have all the hype and all the advertising, so you don't hear about them, but mainly through word of mouth. Okay, the Sk3000 they just came out with, it's over $60,000. It's 57.5 inches wide, so you can't get it through many gates. You have to take, basically it's like a full-size skid. So basically you have to take a panel down or have a wide open area to work with. The lifting capacity is 3,000. The tipping capacity is over 8,000 pounds. One nice thing it does have, though, it has a 118-inch hinge pin height, so you can lift up really high and dump it to a dump truck. That is very nice if you have the room for it. It has 5.8 mile an hour forward and backwards. I'm going to go to the next one they came out with a couple years ago, the Sk1550. It's over $48,000. Has a width of 4.6 inches. So that's another reason most of our gates we can barely fit through with our machine. So most of your jobs you would not be able, or our jobs, you would not be able to fit the machine in the backyard. Has a 1,500 lift capacity and a 4,400 tip capacity. Hinge pin's nice, it's 94.5 inches, and it goes 4.7 mile an hour forward or backward. So when you're in the market for a skid steer, unless you got a bunch of money and a lot of room, you're probably going to eliminate those top two. So what we're talking about here is going to be these three pieces of equipment right here. This is pretty much what you're going to be dealing with. Anywhere from the Sk1050 to the Sk600 or the Sk800. And I'm going to tell you why I choose what I choose. I always choose the 800. The Sk1050 is $39,000 plus tax, 42 inches wide, and has a lifting capacity of 1,000, a tipping capacity of 3,035, 83-inch pin height, 4.7 mile an hour forward or backward. Okay. The Sk800 is 28,500, and it also has a 42-inch width, but you can change it to 36 if you really want to. I had one and I converted it. You basically flop this, you pick the machine up, you loosen a couple bolts, and you slide the mechanism in, and you switch over the sprockets, and you put a smaller track on it. You can actually make it a 36-inch machine. So there's only about 2 or 3 jobs a year we actually can't fit our machine in. So even if I have 2 machines, I usually I keep the 42-inch tracks on there, and you can actually, there's a little bit of give on each side because it's just rubber. I've been able to squeeze in a little bit smaller than 42, maybe 40 or 41-inch gate. You just got to be careful, and you just got to ease it through if you really need to get in there. So the only difference in these 2 machines, there's a little bit more horsepower and the pump's a little bit bigger. But if you can look, it's the same width, almost the same lifting capacity, and the hinge pins are the same, and the speed's the same. But you're spending over $10,000 more for basically the same machine. And another thing you can do that a lot of people don't know about, you can take this 800 and you can put a weight kit on it down here, add weight kit, and the weight kit's only like $800 installed. You add the weight kit and it brings it up 200 or 300 pounds. So basically with the weight kit, you're basically lifting almost the same weight. So, it goes from 800 to about 1,000, and the tipping capacity goes from 28 to about 3,000. So you're really getting almost the same exact machine for $10,000 less money if you add the weight kit. The only thing you're not going to have is it's going to have a little bit more horsepower, and it's going to have a little bit bigger pump. But if you're not running a trencher, or you're not running like anything continuous operation, even like a brush hog, which we use, but basically we just let it wind up and then we bring it down on the material. And I had a turbo, and the turbo had a little more horsepower. So if you have an older one with a turbo, there's not going to be hardly any difference in horsepower. It's going to be mainly the pump power, which if you don't use pumps that much, if you're just using it as a grapple, you're not even going to really notice it at all. So I recommend, instead of getting the 1050, get the 800 and save yourself 10 grand. And with the money you save, you can put it towards another one. The last one we're going to talk about is the Sk800, which is $25,000. The only advantage you're going to have, it has a 33.5 width. So it's going to be able to get into those places once or twice a year that you can't get in with this one. But the lifting capacity is less. You only get 600 pounds of lifting capacity and 1725 tipping capacity. So you're going to lose a lot of lifting capacity. And also, too, you're not going to have as much height at the hinge pin. And to be honest with you, this would be the smallest hinge pin height I'd want, because when you're going, you're pretty much lifting material with that tree service. You have to lift it up, and if you have a 6-foot fence, your brush is going to sag down a little bit. You need to pick it up a couple inches above the fence to walk stuff out. I had a Toro Dingo, and I had to cut everything down to fit because I only had like a 6-foot reach, and we were always tearing up fences that way. So you're gonna have a problem because you're only gonna have a few inches to spare. And if you have a fence that's over 6 foot, if they maybe make an inch or two above, you're gonna have a lot of problem with that. And it's also slower. So this would be a good backup machine or a second machine. But what I would rather have is I would get an Sk800, and look at, you're only spending like another 3 grand. I would go ahead and upgrade to the 800 and get the extra lifting capacity, get the bigger machine. The only reason I get one of these is if I did a lot of work in backyards, or I did a lot of work inside buildings where you need that tight turning radius, because they're shorter. So other than that, I would stay away from the Sk800 and the 1050, because this is a lot better value for the money. You're going to spend 10 grand more for this. And basically you're gonna have the same lifting capacity with a weight kit. So anyway, this is just a quick breakdown and what I recommend and what I use. I had a Sk800 that I had for over probably 6 or 7 years with 4,000 hours on it. I just sold it, and I have like a 752 that has like 1,500 hours on it. I had for about 2 or 3 years, and I'm happy with both of them, and that's why I'm going to get the 800 with the weight kit. And they have 0% financing right now for up to 48 months. So I'm going to go ahead and get that one, and I'll let you know how it works out. But all these machines, the 755, 752, the 800, they're all pretty much the same machine. It just differs a little bit if you have a turbo or not. So anyway, this is Roger with Roger's Reviews talking about the SK mini skid from Ditch Witch. This is the one I'm going with. I hope this information helps you out to make a better buying decision. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and I try to answer all your questions, especially when it comes to this, because I'm kind of like an expert. I've tried about every mini skid there is, and I've got about 30 attachments, and we build our own attachments at Tree Life 584 Tree. So please crush the like button if you like this, and subscribe, and we'll bring you more good information on mini skids. Have a great day.